My brain just went through a lot of confusion trying to figure out if I'm actually correct in converting these time zones and figuring out these release times. And my God, PC players, did we get slapped in the face? You're going to have to decide for yourself. Hello and welcome back. Today we have some Hogwarts Legacy news to go over. The big news being the global release times for PC and console players for the standard edition of the game and the deluxe edition of the game. This is probably going to blow some of your guys' minds. Okay, so over on the Hogwarts Legacy Twitter page, the official Twitter page, we got a bunch of posts, you know, between 30 minutes ago and an hour ago, and we're going to start with the 72-hour early access for PC players, and then we'll get into the regular standard edition release time. So globally for PC players, the 72-hour early access period will begin on February 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, I'm going to convert these times a little bit for you guys because for some reason they decided to give a world map for console players, even though they all have the same local time release, but they didn't do it for PC players who actually need the global map. So here you go, 72 hours early access. If you bought the deluxe edition, it's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. in London, 11:30 p.m. in India, and then it'll be the following day for PC deluxe edition purchasers. For those of you that live in these time zones, Tokyo at 3 a.m. in the morning, 4:30 a.m. in Sydney, Australia, and 7 a.m. in New Zealand. All right, now back to the Twitter post. Now let's take a look at the 72-hour early access for console players. The 72-hour early access period for Hogwarts Legacy on console will begin on February 7th, 2023 at midnight in your region, and this is for current gen consoles. Old gen have to wait until June, I think is where the last that I heard, and Nintendo has to wait until July. So you can see here, we have the map here, and it has local midnight time for almost everywhere in the world except Los Angeles. It's the oddball here. You're going to be at 9 p.m. on February 6th. So if you think about this, New Zealand console players will be playing 18 hours earlier than New York console players. The more I think about that, you know, I guess it does kind of suck, you know, because you bought the game early and you wanted to play it as early as you possibly can. That's part of the reason why you might have pre-ordered the deluxe edition. Then you find out there's people that are playing up to 18 hours earlier than you are. It feels a little bit like a slap in the face, but I also kind of understand just doing the local midnight release time, regardless of what country that you're from. I think that's probably okay. But where the math gets pretty crazy actually is when you think about the PC deluxe edition purchasers that have to wait 13 hours more than the console deluxe edition purchasers. That means that a console player in New Zealand is going to be playing 31 hours earlier than a PC player in the United States. And that's where it starts to get a little frustrating when you think about it. It even frustrates me a little bit, even though I kind of understand. And also PC players, we don't have the option to preload. So some of you PC players will be playing days after. Some people have probably already beat the game in the Eastern Hemisphere. Now, if we go back to the Twitter page, you can scroll up. Now, the actual standard edition release times are the same thing, just on February 10th. So if you're a PC player and you bought the standard edition, it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll go back to these times here. So if you have the standard edition, these are all the same times, just on February 10th. So this would be 10, and this would be actually 11 for PC standard edition players right here. And then also for console, it's going to be, I think it's the same thing. Yeah, console is going to be February 10th, midnight local time. So the times are basically the same from the standard to the deluxe edition. You just got to switch the date. From the 7th to the 10th, or maybe the 11th if you're a PC player and living in certain countries. So, you know, this isn't really the greatest news ever. Like I said, it's not like the biggest deal ever. It's just a video game, but there's just something special about everybody being able to play the game around the same time, especially a game that so many of us have been waiting so damn long for. And now there's just going to be, the internet's going to be filled with spoilers. Of course, you don't have to go on the internet. Content creators that are creating for PC are going to be way behind everybody else. Yeah, I don't know. And this isn't really I doubt this has anything to do with Avalanche software, and this isn't going to change whether the game is good or not. This is going to be something that's done with, you know, higher ups, probably at Warner Bros. And like I said, we don't really understand how all this works. Your average gamer doesn't understand how store releases work. So having different times is It makes sense probably in a lot of situations, but to have time differences this drastic, 31-hour difference just because you live in one area of the world and you play on PC, and you're buying the same game for the same price and you're told 72 hours early access. And even though you are technically getting it 72 hours before the time you would have been able to play, depending on where you're at in the world and what you're playing on, these are pretty big time differences, and it's definitely frustrating. I'm frustrated as a PC content creator because I'm going to be so far behind the hype, but what can you do about it? At the same time, I understand having different release times, and the issue is more complex than just release the game at the same time for everyone. And that's pretty much all I have for this video. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a slap in the face, depending on where you live in the world? Do you think it's a slap in the face to PC players, or do you kind of understand both perspectives? Of course, if you're living in New Zealand and you don't have a job with normal hours, you can play at midnight. You're probably screaming with joy right now. To quickly recap, for those of you guys that may have forgotten, PC players are going to be able to play at 1 p.m. Eastern on February 7th. If you got the deluxe edition, February 10th if you got the standard edition, and then console players are going to be playing at midnight local time, February 7th for deluxe, February 10th for standard edition, with the exception of Los Angeles being 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have plenty of other Hogwarts Legacy content available on this channel, and I will be covering this game, even though I'm going to be much later than everyone else. I will still be covering it. Very excited for it. Catch you guys on the next one.